Hello, everyone. Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Yes, Adya.
Please, if one of you can confirm.
Yes, you're audible.
Good evening, everyone. I, Adya Pandey, welcome you all to today's PSPO webinar. Today's speaker is Ms. Kaveri Kala, who is working as a research associate at the Faculty Development Department, Munjal Institute for Global Manufacturing, ISB Mohali, and is also a Ph.D. scholar in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, IIT Delhi. She has a keen interest in using data to strengthen civic capacity and governance. In particular, she has been focusing on problems of national significance, such as enhancing the female labor force participation ratio and evaluating digital maturity in MSMEs in India. During her PhD at IIT Delhi, she has developed the frameworks for optimizing the roles and responsibilities of several stakeholders involved in solid waste management and provided policy recommendations based on the same. Today, she will be discussing her work on waste management communication policy for effective citizen awareness. I now request Ms. Kaveri to begin her presentation.
Hello, everyone. Am I audible? Hello.
Kaveri, you are audible.
Okay. So I'm sharing my screen. Please let me know if you see it. Just wait a minute. Is my screen visible?
Not yet, to me at least.
Okay. I have shared it.
It's visible now, Kaveri.
It's visible?
Yeah.
But I can see it's showing, it's not moving, right?
It's moving actually. The cursor is moving. Yeah, it's on the presentation mode now. Yeah.
Okay. So, hello, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for having me here and providing me the opportunity to present my work. I hope everyone is doing well and after 2 years of pandemic and excited to come back to college. Thank you. So let us start. First of all, I'm giving a brief introduction of my work at IIT Delhi. So basically, my work involves developing framework for optimizing the roles and responsibilities of several stakeholders involved in waste management. Particularly, I am focusing on two sorts of stakeholders: citizens, those are the service recipient, and collectors, service providers. In citizens, we have citizen engagement in a gated community university. Particularly, I'm working on IIT Delhi. And next is citizen engagement in open residential spaces. For open residential spaces, I have chosen South Delhi Municipal Corporation. In terms of collectors, I am working on developing value chains for informal waste management sector, popularly known as Kabadiwala system, and formal waste management sector is typically your municipal corporation. So this is the overall view of what I have been doing. And I would be concentrating in this presentation on citizen engagement in open residential spaces. If you guys have any problem and you feel that there is something which needs more explanation, please stop me in between, or you can ask the question at the end as well, like at your convenience. So this is the presentation. This is the paper I'm focusing on today. Waste Management Communication Policy for Effective Citizen Awareness. It is published in Journal of Policy Modeling. It's an A category journal in ADVC ranking. And I have co-authored it with Nomesh sir and Sushil sir from DMS department. Okay, so first of all, I would like to draw your attention on the problems addressed in this paper. Like, what is the motivation? What is the need for this paper? Like, why do we feel the need to write this paper? So first is low contribution of citizens in the governance process. So this has been proved through literature review and also through various surveys and interviews and questionnaires from policymakers, from decision makers, that there is a low contribution of citizens in the governance process, especially in waste management. Now, what is the solution? What could be the possible solution? The possible solution is we need to amplify community voices and connect them to upstream policy advocacy. So this is one of the possible solutions. Now, the second problem addressed is lack of awareness among citizens regarding waste management. For this, we didn't really need the literature review. You people can see around you, and it is quite evident that in India and in other developing countries as well, we don't have much awareness. We lack awareness regarding waste management. So how can this problem be solved? It can be solved through welfare and social policy modeling. So I'll just tell you more about this. So first of all, these are the problems addressed. But the question is, why do we even need citizen participation in governance process? Like, okay, so there's low participation, but what is the problem in that? So if we have more contribution of citizen in any governance process, especially in waste management, then we can enhance the partnership, ownership, and responsibility in the implementation. First of all, citizens are the primary waste generator. So it is important to involve them. And second thing, they enhance the partnership, ownership, and responsibility in implementation. And one of the factors is that government cannot do it alone. We need to have community participation. So government is just one of the stakeholders in waste management. We need a collaboration from all the stakeholders. And citizens, being the primary generator of waste, is one of the most important stakeholder which we need to put in our policy making. So that's why we need citizen participation. So just to tell you brief about policy and what we are trying to do. So a policy in this is like self-explanatory, a normal definition, a theoretical or technical instrument that is formulated to solve specific problems affecting directly or indirectly societies across different periods of times in geographical spaces. So there's a definition of policy. And what we are trying to develop in this paper is a waste management communication policy. So what will this policy do? This policy will help us. It will set rules and regulations to identify appropriate channels of communication between the government and various categories of citizens regarding waste management and thus create awareness among them. So this is the main role of this policy, that it has to create, it has to identify a few ways that how we can communicate various strategies, or how we can make the population aware of the myths regarding waste management, or how to tell them the strategies to cope up with waste management. So this policy has to identify those channels. Now the question is, how do we do it? Why? Because in a country like India, we just simply cannot. It's a very diverse. We have a very diverse population. So what might work, or what might work for one sector, one category of population, will not work for the other category of population. So that's not happening. Okay. So now India, so now why we need such kind of policy, such heterogeneous policy, because India is a diverse country and one size fits all does not work here. So what we need is a heterogeneous, context-based and evidence-driven policy. We also need decentralization of waste management. So to cater to the population of India, this is the thing we are focusing on. So till now, everything is clear. Is there any doubt about the motivation and the need for this study? That why are we even bothering to have waste management communication policy? Is it okay? Am I audible?
Yes, Kaveri.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Okay, so this is the motivation and the need for the study. Now the second thing is methodological framework. So this is a general framework which can be developed for framing or designing any policy, not just for the waste management, but for any policy in general. You need to have a few steps, and these are the steps. So what is the step one? Step one is to establish the need for the policy. That do we even need a policy? Does this policy help us to solve any problem? Or just for the sake of a policy, we are creating a policy. So first, we really need to establish the need of the policy. So how we have done that? We have we have created some surveys, we have designed surveys, we talk to the decision makers, policy makers, household, experts in IIT, experts outside IIT, in municipal corporations. We talk to them, and through them, we were able to identify, yes, there is a need of waste management communication policy because the awareness level regarding waste management in India is quite low. This has also been established with the help of our survey results, but it has also been established through by the various decision makers and experts. So first step is we establish the need of the policy. Once it is clear that we need this policy, the second step is selecting an appropriate strategy. Like, what should be the appropriate strategy? It's a prudent question. So we need to select a method or technique to develop a econometric based policy. So this is the second. Now the third step in any policy is evaluation of the policy. Once you have developed the strategy, you got the results. Now you have to see whether this policy will work in future or not. We need to evaluate on various criteria, on various attributes. So these three steps we need to do to design any policy, be it in waste management or in other public systems. So this is the methodological framework. Then I have used this methodology for South Delhi Municipal Corporation. The rationale behind this was it was the largest corporation. So in Delhi, we have 5 municipal corporation. SDMC is the largest one with, I think, 657 kilometer square feet is the area. And it also, in this SDMC area, we have the representation of Delhi population. We have people from lower income group, we have people from upper income group, we have people from Juggis, then we have like gated society. So everything was kind of there, and it was a true representation of population of Delhi. So we chose South Delhi Municipal Corporation. Now, first thing which I told you, like what is the need? So these are the results from our survey, which we conducted in SDMC. So it is quite clear by the results that there is low awareness. 63.1% of all the surveys, it came that they don't have awareness about waste management. And we did not really ask them question, are you aware or not? Because that's not how survey works. We designed some questions, and based on those answers, we kind of chose the scores, and then we calculated, okay, so this particular percentage of people, they have low awareness in terms of waste management. So this establishes the need. Now, one of the most important thing in doing such sort of research, which includes data, is designing the survey and data collection. So these are the few things which I have outlined. Apart from these, there are many things. There are many small things which if somebody is working on survey design, you can contact me and I'll be happy to help. So these are the few things which I have mentioned. Like the questionnaire should not be lengthy, because we have a particular attention span, and if you make the questionnaire unnecessarily lengthy, the people, they will just mark the answers for the sake of completing the survey, and it won't give you any real or direct insights. Question related to waste management practices, they should not be direct. Like the language of the survey is such that it should not be suggestive. It should not be like it should not be biased. You can't really ask them that do you throw waste outside or something like that. You have to frame in such a way that they don't feel bad while filling the survey. The third is exact information number for personal question. You cannot ask how many female members are there in your family or what is your exact salary. So you have to make them categorical responses. Then survey, the time of the survey is very important. Or if you are hiring some survey agency, you have to train the enumerator or the surveyors to how to conduct the survey. If you are using some sort of app like CTO survey, you have to put those type of options to see the GPS location and everything. So different sorts of methods require different types of training and different types of expertise. So these are just a simple normal summary of what you can do. Also, while conducting pilot survey, you can add dummy questions. Dummy questions are basically they're asking the same question but in different way, so that if the responses are conflicted, you will be able to know that the person who has filled the survey has just filled it for the sake of it and not really put any thought. So those kind of things you can also do. So survey design and data collection are the most important steps while doing any research related to data. Now the second thing, so now the survey design has been done and everything has been done. So the second step was to identify the appropriate strategy. So what should be the appropriate strategy? We got the results. Now do what? So what I have used multinomial logistic regression. This is the equation of multinomial logistic regression. It is quite simple. If you feel if you need any explanation further, please ask me. So y is equal to n, the dependent variable. I'll just show you again. So the dependent variable is the mode of communication. Like what is the mode of communication the particular citizens can relate to? And the independent variables are monthly income, ownership of the house, service satisfaction, occupation. So there are there were many independent variables. So the independent variables which came out significant, we have chosen only those. It might be possible that nothing could have come out significant. Then the approach should have been different. Maybe you would have used a frequency analysis or some easier method. So in our case, these are the factors which were responsible for the dependent variables. So we have used, these are the independent variables, these are the dependent variables, these are the equation, total number of independent variables, y is equal to n. So this n for one equation is y is equal to smaller n is the mode of communication, like for example, utility bills, and y is equal to bigger n, like the capital N, uppercase N, it is the reference category. In my case, I have taken direct mail. If you are doing some search, you can choose what reference category do you want, and you can design your equation appropriately. Now, multinomial logistic regression have several assumptions, like the logic should be linear and multi-collinearity nahi ho sakti. So there are a lot of assumptions you need to take care of, and then you can apply this for categorical data. And you can use other methods also, but this does not assume normality or something like that. So it is quite it's easy to use this method, but make sure that you have responses either more than 500 or at least 10 responses per category. So these are the few things you need to take care of, and you can apply this if somebody is thinking of putting this in their research. Dependent variable, independent variable I have selected. So basically our econometric based model was based on multinomial logistic regression. It was not based on all out approach. Now, what is all out approach? All out approach is simply frequency analysis. Like if there are like 100 people and 70 have said, okay, fine, newspaper should be there. So we are not simply putting newspaper. We need to see what kind of category is saying newspaper, or if that particular category is in our sample, is that particular category is more in number, and that's why the frequency is coming out like that. If we take some other sample, and in that sample, if that category is less, so newspaper is not coming. So we need to make all those sort of analysis before just simply putting any policy based on frequency analysis. So in our case, we saw that the newspaper category came out to be of maximum frequency, but still the direct mail was the mode which has been ticked off by different category of citizens. So the proposed waste management communication policy prioritizes the major concerns of people both at individual and societal level and in sync with the people preference for mode of communication. So it provides that mode of communication which is easy to relate to, and also it just simply not provide how to communicate, but also what to communicate, like what sort of information should go in those modes. Like if there are community notices, so what kind of information we should put in community notices for what kind of people. Now this is the other level where we are also making the information targeted. Right now only the mode is targeted, but we can also make the information targeted. Okay, so this is IIT Delhi community and we have so and so resources and we have so and so opportunities. So what kind of communication channels should be used, or what kind of information is relevant for students or for faculty? So all these things also we can do, but right now I'm just concentrating the targeted outreach campaign for the mode of communication. A VMCP deploys relevant channels to increase awareness among citizens through targeted campaigns. As a part of such campaign, information should be disseminated to appropriate channels to break the myths associated with waste management. For example, people think that they don't have time to carry out waste management things regarding waste management practices, or they don't have space, or they don't like a lot of things they think, because they think getting involved in a process like waste management requires a lot of effort. But on the contrary, it is quite simple. It is just segregation. It does not take much time. So all such sort of information need to be provided to various citizens. So these are the concerns at individual level, that lack of time, lack of space, lack of facilities. So we need to address these sort of concerns through those modes of communication. Then these are the societal level: lack of dustbin, lack of awareness. Dustbins are always full. Okay, and lack of awareness, because this is also what we have seen as the need of this paper. Now, so we have established the need of the policy, like we need it. Then we see the appropriate strategy. Appropriate strategies: multinomial logistic MLR or econometrics driven policy. Now the third thing is evaluation of the policy. Like you have developed the policy, how good that policy is, what should be the factors. So this paper does not include the evaluation such as case study after implementation, because obviously this policy has not been implemented. But even before evaluation, we need to ensure that these criteria for any policy are fulfilled. And for this particular policy, they are fulfilled more or less. But we can be only sure once this type of policy framework is implemented and we get the desired results. We can see that, okay, the awareness has increased, or other performance indicators which we have marked. So evaluation criteria: effectiveness, it should be effective, it should be able to do what it has stated, efficiency, low cost, low time, responsiveness. Since this policy framework is based on the citizen survey and the results related to that, it is highly responsive. Political acceptability, okay, and then administrative ease. Political acceptability, it should not favor a particular type of people. It should not do that. Administrative ease, equity, impartial, and outcome focused. Like what it has stated, it should be able to achieve. So these are the evaluation criteria. So yeah, so that is it. That's all. If you have any question, you can ask me about all the steps or whatever you did not understand. There are other things also which I have mentioned in the paper. You can read the paper and for the details. This is the skeletal of the paper, that what are the major things being done in the paper. Okay, thank you.
I think we have a question from Atul. Can you please elaborate on MLR?
Okay, so multinomial logistic regression is basically there are two types of logistic. There are basically more types. Ordinal is also there, but multinomial logistic regression is where you you see so you know about normal linear regression. In linear regression, the relationship between the dependent variable and the independent variable should be linear. Okay. But in multinomial logistic regression, the relationship between the log of the dependent variable and the independent variable should be linear. And what are the, like, you can use multinomial for categorical data, and like the dependent variable should be categorical. The independent variable can be continuous. So if you have that sort of survey, that sort of data, you can use multinomial logistic regression. If you have ordinal data, you use ordinal logistic regression. There are a lot of assumptions for multinomial logistic regression, which needs to be satisfied at any cost. And you can do this either with the help of Python, or there are softwares, R, SPSS, they all have packages, you can use them.
Ma'am, am I audible to you?
Adi, actually, I can't hear. Oh, Nazia, sorry,
Yeah,
Nazia.
yeah, yeah.
Hi.
Hi, am I audible to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, there is just one query. Like you mentioned that, regarding sample size, survey sample size, you told me that, there should be at least 500 participants, or we should try to get, 10
10
responses.
responses per category.
Right. So two questions arises out of this. First of all, can we not use, a standard sample size estimation formula? And second one is, there are few things, for example, such as while I'm conducting my survey. So in my independent variable, I have taken level of education as my independent variable, right? So in my level of
Okay.
education, I'm considering, people who have got no formal education, then people who have completed up to matriculation and then intermediate and then graduation and post graduation. And then, there
Okay.
is another question which says, what are the different types of healthcare providers the patients visit? So there the options are general physicians, then there are specialists, then there are allopathic, non-allopathic doctors, and then there are traditional healers. So there when question arises, like it is, actually, it is very clear also, like an educated person, they will avoid to go or they will not go to a traditional healer in most of the cases. So should we consider that as, as an exceptional case, right? Because
Okay.
mhm.
So for your first question, so
Yeah.
see, the thing which I said, that at least 500 responses per category, 10 responses, these are rule of thumb.
Yeah.
Okay. So with some, you can obviously use for data less than 500, but
Yeah.
the accuracy of the model would be compromised in that case. So if you're fine with that, it is fine. Or you can collect more data and see what happens. But if you have found sample size with the help of the formula, which I
Yeah.
think we
There are,
did, I guess, right? Yeah,
yeah,
so it is
exactly.
fine.
Yeah.
But
And for
if
the
somebody is starting the research, so they should aim for that.
And for the second category, second question should be considered that as an exception case, because obviously a person who is educated and rich, they will not go to a traditional healer, like normal doctor.
Okay, so Nazia, for this, what is there is that is the domain knowledge, like, and also the assumption. You are assuming that. So, like, is it been in the literature that it's written somewhere that the traditional healers, the educated person would not go? Well, I did not understand the question. What kind of
Basically,
hypothesis are you testing? Is there
no,
some
no,
hypothesis you are testing?
I'm just trying to figure out, does level of education affects the way people, choose a particular type of healthcare provider? So in that, so obviously, when we are saying level of education, we need to consider the entire domain life, right? So people can have no education, or people can be, highly educated, right? So I've divided them into categories. Similarly, when I say about healthcare providers, the healthcare providers can be of different types, right? They can be general physician, as I told you, and they can also be, some Baba types. So obviously, the educated person, they will not prefer to go to those traditional healers. Like in my survey responses also, I'm not getting any response where someone who's very educated, they say, yeah, कि हाँ, चलो हम लोग, we went to some traditional healer, to get our medicine or anything. So yeah, so I think there's some exceptional case. I think should I consider? I think no, I'm right now till now.
Basically, yeah, what you can do is you can test this hypothesis. So what is your hypothesis? What is my assumption? Or you can test this assumption that educated people do not go to these. And now you do this whole analysis. So the data will tell you if it's right or if it's wrong. You are saying that none has marked the, like you have,
Yeah, none has marked, especially the educated people. They have not marked this traditional healer option. So that is
so
why.
then, so it's fine. Like even if you do the hypothesis, so it will come that
Okay, thanks.
the hypothesis would be tested. Your assumption is right. So if none has marked that traditional healer even in any category, then you need to do again, and then you need to see, or if there is like 0 responses for that category, you need to just chuck that category out, because then it will unnecessarily make the association chi-square association with 0, and we don't want that. It does not it violates the assumption of chi-square
So
test.
basically, we need to remove that category if there are no.
Yeah. If it is like none has marked that, so you just remove it, because yeah, it will definitely give some association, and it basically it violates the chi-square test, the assumption which we need to be fulfilled. So you can chuck that category out, I guess. Is there any other question regarding anything, survey design or?
Hello, am I audible?
Hi, Prashant. Yes,
Yeah.
you are. How are you?
Hello. Yeah, fine, ma'am. My question is like, what type of questionnaire will capture more accurate result, like scoring based, in which I will have 5 options for one question and I will ask them to score them, or like ranking based, I will ask them to rank the options, or it like option based, I will ask them to select any one option of the 5 questions. Which type
Okay.
of questionnaire should I prepare?
Okay, so see, the design of questionnaire also depends what you are trying to achieve. Now, there is one thing, if you'll put more categories, for example, you are asking a question, what do you think of these, select one of the following categories, and you are giving them 10 categories. So this is not a good way to design a survey. But it is it can give you, if you have that many, if you have like thousands of data points, but if you have like less data points, you just restrict your categories to 4 or 5, or you see if you can collect thousands of data, that is fine. So that is one thing. Second thing, if you want ordinal data, like if you want rank based or you want categorical data, it also depends upon your pilot survey. So now in pilot survey, what we do, we ask subjective question, we ask open-ended questions, and then we see what kind of responses we are getting. Okay, so if you are it entirely depends on you and how well you have conducted your pilot study. So the responses, whether you have to rank them or whether you have to put categorical responses, it depends upon what kind of responses you got in your open-ended survey, which you have done in your pilot study.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
or you can
Got
just
it.
elaborate some more and I can help you out with that.
Yeah, we'll
Like you are,
contact when I will prepare questionnaire. I am working on that.
yeah. So the first step is what kind of questions. It can also happen that you are asking a question in such a way that it is, forcing people to take a particular answer. And then you are like, okay, and you are just making 3 categories because the question is designed in such a way. To get more answers out of people, first of all, you need random thing, like you need to do that pilot study in different parts of the city to capture all the perception, to just understand what people exactly think. You can't do if you like the it should it should include all your target audience. But if your target audience is just like PhD students, then obviously you can do it in you can conduct among PhD students. So yeah, so first of all, you need to do a pilot study with open-ended question, get as many as options possible through literature review, through pilot study, through experts' opinion. Design question in such a way so that you get more responses. You understand those one pilot study, and with the help of that, you change your survey and conduct again a next pilot study. So like 1 or 2 pilot study would be sufficient, and then you start your major quantitative data. So first, I would suggest that do some open-ended or a qualitative survey, and once it's done, then you can switch to quantitative survey.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome.
We have any other question from anyone else? Okay, so in that case, we can end this webinar now. Thank you, Kaveri, for such an informative and wonderful presentation.
Thank you so much, Adya.
Would request all the team members to please stay back for the AGM.